Hello everybody. I've a story to tell you, and then something disappearing to show you, and something that's gone with just some little remainders left over. This one kind of, I have to catch my breath when I think about this one. This one's tough for me. I don't know why. I'm not a religious man, but sometimes the elements of religion sometimes have a profound effect upon me. Okay, let me tell a story first of all. In the past, Japanese households, estates were laid out with a certain pattern, and there were specialists who designed the layout of the pattern. And it's kind of similar to feng shui, where the door would be at a certain auspicious location in terms of we're talking about the coordinates of a compass, right? The doorway the entrance to the house would be one place, the louvre, the toilet would be in another place, the gateway to the house. Various things would all be placed in a certain way, and this was all basically based on superstition, on the elements of luck and all that kind of stuff. What people thought about basically how life worked in terms of basically feng shui type of a stuff, where good luck existed in certain elements, could flow through the estate, flow through the house, and the like. Now, that was all part of the way that things were done, and I can't find any houses that were probably likely set up that way around here. All of these newer houses surrounding me were probably set up the old way. Now I'm entering, this is the village Viada. Now go back to the Wayback Machine, 200 years, and this would have been all fields. Even go back 80 years, and this would have all been fields here. My wife's house, which was just up there, was the last house in the valley. This is the valley of fields. She said beyond, when she was a girl, this was just all fields. She was on the outpost. She had to wander to school through meandering paths through the hills there, and over the hill to get to school, and through rice fields, treading her way along between the paddies. Very romantic image. It's all changed just in a course of a few decades. Now go back 2 centuries, even more so. This was the village center, would have been right over here. The big old Tokata road, two signals down. Maybe you can see the light. Let me try to zoom in. I'm holding my iPhone with my other hand for a reason. See the 2 lights? The second signal down, that's the old Tokaido Highway. The village center of Yada would have been right here, and these houses right here. This is one of the old ones. Now this one is a candidate. This one it has some of the old auspicious symbols. I showed some of this in a previous video, the pines over the doorway and the like, but I'm not completely sure. The layout's a little bit different. But anyway, we're getting into the area where some of these older houses were probably indeed designed with certain things in mind. One of those things, now couple that with the fact of religion. There's 2 religions in Japan, Buddhism and Shinto. They're the 2 main religions. The Shinto religion it basically prescribes a myriad deities, innumerable numbers of major and minor gods throughout the pantheon of the Shinto spectrum. And those gods have their edifice in the community shrine. There'd be a major one there, possibly 1 or more gods, deities enshrined there. And then in the household, there'll be typically one in the kitchen god, the kitchen god. There'll be one, for example, in my family's place over here, they have the workshop. My father-in-law was a shoji screen maker. He worked at home. They had a little kamidana there. They had another one. Some families have one in the garden as well, an estate deity, so to speak. And these older houses would typically have the estate deity's kamidana. Kamidana being kamidana typically is the god shelf. So it's not really a kamidana. It's like a little shrine if it's outside. It's not on a shelf, but a little Shinto edifice somewhere on the property, and it follows the coordinates of the compass. And I'm going to try and show you. You can't find them. They're really hard to find anymore. That's one of the oldest houses here, right here. This is about that estate's been there for more than 4 centuries. Bigger ones over here on the other side. You can't see it, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to have to be quiet. I'm going to get close. I'm going to show you, peek into someone's backyard, and I'm going to show you 2 stones that are set up in the back at the compass coordinates. You can see it right here. It'll basically be the northwest corner of the house, and I've seen this over and over in this area. There's my I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to show you the stones. There's my wife's, that's my wife's aunt right there laying out the laundry at pre-dawn in her little coat there. I'm going to be quiet now. Look at the stones. I'll just show you briefly, and then we'll move on. I'll talk about it. Here's the house. Okay, did you see those stones? Seated there, now I only want to show you those briefly. I definitely don't want to be walking around my neighborhood poking my camera at people's backyards. Most likely, this house here, which is one of the bigger and older ones, most likely, if I was able to peek, do the same thing I just did, peek over the wall here, I would find another kamidana, a religious element right over here on this corner. Those stones are what's left over of probably there was a little shrine there at one time, a long time ago. Now, how do I know that? Well, I don't know any of this for certain. This is a lot of stuff I'm just extrapolating from my experience. One of the experiences that I had here was that a couple of years back, my wife and I had determined that we wanted to find an old house to rent to live in. We didn't do it. We couldn't find one close enough to our in-laws. But in that course, we went to Realtor, and they took us to one old house after another in the greater area here. There weren't a lot of ones just nearby, and we were looking at old places like that to rent. And one after another, I found evidence of the old religious pieces on that same corner, that same in terms of the compass coordinates. And some of them were actual shrines back there. Some of them were actually just a little evidence, like those stones, those carefully stacked stones there. And stones have a religious significance in Japan. You can often, I mean, stones are symbolic in so many ways. So having just a couple of stones there is nearly as good as having the little shrine itself. Another aspect of Japan that's slowly disappearing, I am sure that very few young people, when they are electing to build a house anymore in Japan, if they have enough land for it, they give any consideration to placing a religious, making a religious site on the property. Some people might, but they're certainly rare. There you go, folks. Thank you for witnessing another bit of the disappearing culture of Japan. And what it's being replaced with, something different, but the spirit is still there. The Japanese still are the same. Yeah, that's right. Just the outward expression is maybe a little bit different. And who knows? Maybe one day they'll reclaim that, and maybe a generation will show up in my daughter's children. Maybe my grandchildren will rediscover an interest in that element of the culture, which will survive in the shrines and the like. And old places like this may disappear. These old farmhouses with their beautiful pines across the top and all the little elements of the old culture, layout of the household and like, but otherwise the Japanese will still be themselves. Take care, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope it's a great day for you in every capacity. Bye-bye.